Quality Assurance in Another World Volume 1 Review. The isekai genre has absolutely exploded with so many different quirk titles that, even though a lot of them fall into a similar template, you can never quite know what to expect. Here is Masamichi Sato's Quality Assurance in Another World. We explore the arduous world of video game QA testing, an entertaining by critical look at the profession. The story begins by introducing us to Nicola, a young girl from a small village in the kingdom of Bile. While out with a group of villagers collecting lumber, they are attacked by a group of dragons, gigantic creatures that look like a cross between a toad and a catfish. Too scared to move, she risks being crushed by the dragons, but is saved by a random dude who grabs her leg from the bushes and tells her not to move. This person is Haga, a researcher that one of the villagers describes being part of the Skin Seekers, a group of elite adventurers. He has been sent out by the king to investigate the strange goings on in the kingdom. Except that's not it at all. As we soon find out, this world is actually a virtual reality video game, and Haga is a debugger whose job is to test it. However, what this was only supposed to be a 1 week job. On the debug, all the debuggers quickly found themselves unable to log out from the game, with some testers, like Haga, continued to take their job seriously. Others began to take advantage of the situation, activation to forbidden debug mode, and going around doing whatever they pleased. After losing several friends did this with glitches and bugs, Haga resolves to continue the rat test, the goal drawn the entire game, hoping that when he eventually clears it, all those trapped within will finally be able to log out. But the guy gets stuck in the video game setup and standard at this point. While the assurance in another world makes it into a bit of a dark comedy, but upending things and making Haga pitifully powerless. It tosses the harem stop male power fantasies out the window. If you get is a dumb and grimace inducing adventures with an ordinary guy who suffers from motion sickness and is clearly too obsessed with his job. This is something I found quite refreshing, as there's no stereotypical toxic male ideal here, just an ordinary guy who's quiet, easy to latch onto and sympathize with. The first fights pits him against one of the massive dragons, with only a bow and a bunch of homemade explosive barrels, when he's completely out of his depth, but like the villagers he's trying to save, you can help but want to cheer him on. This is amplified by his backstory, which is pretty bleak. He's pretty much lost everything at this point. Now his friends have been gruesomely caught in the game's glitches. This is where they can be pretty dark and ruthless, so it takes what will be minor annoyances or funny moments in real life to literally life-ending degrees. Clip drawing a wall. Enjoy falling from nothingness for eternity. Teleport somewhere you shouldn't. Enjoy spending the rest of your day glitching in the same spot. Try to fly. Spend the rest of your days floating around the sky like a lost balloon. It does a good job playing with these situations, particularly when the bad guy debuggers show up, and for the kind of vile stuff that they do, the more they deserve it. But these are some more ouch, I didn't think of these things way before moments. It also knows how to have a bit of a laugh. It has no qualms in exploring silly scenarios, like talking on a monster with the weakest weapon, or ramming into a wall to see if it can clip drone them. Having dabbled in the games industry myself, I can say that the way it handles the entire situation, it's pretty true to life. These are things you have to look for. Casually, it can be funny when you can find something wrong, but I didn't think that this manga captures well to us the deliberate nature of it all. As we see Haga being worn down from having to face the same scenario multiple times or spend hours smashing his face into the wall. This is where you think it would be a bit make or break for most readers, as it feels within in jokes, references, and critics of the procession. But that would only make sense to people who have really been in those situations before. But it does well. When looking in from the outside, some things get a bit lost in people. However, this is where Nicola comes into play as a newbie. It's definitely fun seeing her experience these things for the first time. A lot of this is down to how well she works with Haga as a duo. As the pair click instantly on the page, there's an interesting dynamic appearing on older, this illusion guy with an eccentric young kid, and her energy really rubs off on him, so instead of just going through the motions of his job, it feels like he's interested in showing her the world and what he does, which makes you as a reader feel a lot more involved in the story. Things progress as well as the void initially focuses on them getting to know each other and taking out some bad guys, but towards the end it throws in some twists, which kind of ruin the overall vibe it's going for. We do get some additional backstory and a goal of going forward, but it hints at it turning into a standard, save the world type of adventurer, and I'm not entirely sure what I want from this. I more than want to see how they can turn testing into a fun comedy, and it's most likely how they balances this with the same the world plot going forward as to whether this is worth sticking around for in the long run. On one hand, if it becomes too generic, it could lose its unique space, but going too far from the other way, it could become boring. Masamichi Sato's artwork hails a lighter, more comedic style with the rougher and more detailed one you expect to see from a fantasy manga, and I think it works rather well at giving indistinct contrast between each of the different characters. The monster designs can get pretty freaky drunk, and there's definitely some sexual elements in here with one particularly biological looking creature, as well as a shot of one of the bad guys being surrounded by a woman in a particularly lewd position. The lineage is just something to be aware of content wise, but I generally like the look and feel of it all. Quality assurance in another work is brought to us by Kodansha in both physical and digital formats. Translation is credited to Jacqueline Fong at the agency local manga and reads well with no issues to note. Overall, quality assurance in another work makes a decent start, offering a unique type of isekai story that provides plenty of laughs through the adventures of its very underpowered protagonist and his energetic new assistant, but also isn't afraid to get into the nitty gritty of its main project matter and provide a darker, more morbid spin on it. While the unfamiliar with the topic may struggle to connect with it, I think it does have potential if it can balance out its main story with its more industry-focused comedy as it goes forward. Read the first two chapters for free on the Kodansha's website. 7 out of 10.